Hi, my name is Laurelee, and this is It's Not About Food. So it's not about food, and it's not about weight. What is it about? Everything else, because it's never ever about food or weight, never ever, not even one time, not ever, ever, ever. Hello, this is Laurelee Roark. I'm one of the founders of Beyond Hunger and the author of It's Not About Food, and over it with my business partner, Carol Normandy. We started a nonprofit many years ago, and the guest that I have today was one of our first volunteers, so I'm excited about that she's here talking about this. And today, going along with the Body Love cards, what we're going to be talking about today is feelings. And the front of the card has the goddess or the image sort of standing still and sort of looking up to sort of wondering what her feelings are, if you will. And the little dog deer, little spirit animal is also looking at her like, I wonder what her feelings are. And if we go by the idea that there's nothing going on other than your feelings, really, that's underneath any disordered eating, any body hatred. It's the feelings that is what is wanting to come up. So it's never about the food. It's never about the weight. It is always about something else. And usually that something else is feelings. So the card reads for this day, feelings are the emotions that come from the core of our being, that are an essential part of knowing our needs and taking care of ourselves. Our feelings tell us when we are hurt, when we need to stop or set a boundary, what makes us happy, and what feeds our soul. When we can learn to go beneath the body hatred and diet thoughts and experience our feelings fully, we can begin to take back our ability to live fully. So for me, again, this is the part of my whole life that I did not really do very well with. I didn't take that. I was not present on the day they taught feelings in school. So they probably didn't even teach feelings in school. But I did not know how to have feelings. I did not know how to feel my feelings. I did not know how to do anything about my feelings. So as I went into my own eating disorder and any other recovery that I tried to recover from, and I would put down the behavior, what came up was feelings. And I pretty much hated it. I pretty much didn't know what to do. I didn't have any idea what boundaries were. I didn't have any idea what, I had two feelings, I felt like, sad and angry. And I couldn't have really those feelings. So then I really only had the overlay feeling of everything is fine. Don't ask me any questions. So I am so, so glad. Today we have our great friend Vajra here, great friend of Beyond Hungers and personal friend of mine and Carol's, who we just love so much. I've known her forever, since she was a tiny tot. And so I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you what she's been doing, and then we'll talk about feelings.
Great. Thank you so much, Laurelee, for having me on your podcast here. And my name's Vajra Farnsworth, and I owe my large part of my recovery to Beyond Hunger. I was in a workout gym. I think I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I had just gone to the bathroom, and I came out and I looked at the bulletin board, and there was a flyer there that had said, do you hate your body? Do you have problems, loving yourself? Do you overeat? And I looked at that flyer and I went, oh my gosh, that's me. I'm like, at that time, I was overeating. I would sit down with a whole box of cereal and just eat the whole box of cereal. And I'm like, what is going on with me? I really didn't understand the behavior, and it really scared me. So when I saw the flyer, I reached out, and of course, Laurelee was like, yes, come to my group. And I started my journey of recovery at that point. By that time, I had adopted several behaviors that were kind of disassociating me from my feelings, overeating. At that point, I was smoking too. I was a closet smoker. And I had learned that drinking was kind of a great thing to do to avoid my feelings, and do drugs. So it was kind of the whole thing. But when I saw the flyer, I was like, okay, I could identify with the food part. And so, yeah, that's where the journey started.
And it was so beautiful to see your journey. I mean, so young that you started at, and I wish more girls and boys, of course, because it's more and more boys all the time. The male eating disorders has grown substantially since the last 5 years. And, it's because they are now a source of income for the companies that want to make them also feel terrible about their weight or their height or their build or their penises, whatever, just to make them feel bad about themselves so they can sell them a product or a thing or an easy program, whatever, lose, 100 pounds while you sleep program like that. And so, it's, if we could get everybody in at 5 years old, I think we could stop this, but we can't, they just don't come at that early age. But that's where it really starts way, way early. And so Vajra came as a pretty young teenager and just really jumped right into it, and then loved it. We loved her so much that she actually became a volunteer and has volunteered for years for us. And it's just beautiful that you've done that all this time. And so now, Vajra, how do you work with feelings? I know your whole life is completely different than when you were volunteering at Beyond Hunger down in Marin County, and you live now in Reno. What up? What happened, since then?
Oh my goodness, there's been a lot of healing that's happened. I think, I love to just kind of wind back to the beginning of my journey here. One of the things that I really realized is that I had a whole bunch of feelings that I couldn't articulate. Mm-hmm. And how that came out was, my overeating, right? It was like, that was my feeling, was the overeating. And all of the groups helped me kind of start to peel off the layers of the onion, right? Yeah. So I could start to see, oh, that's a feeling that I'm feeling that I'm not feeling. And I instead of feeling it, I'm eating it.
Yes.
And so it was just eating the feelings and feeling out of control.
Right.
And then a lot of what I discovered was that the trauma that happened to me at a very young age, pre-verbal, right? Even in the womb, right? My mother being abused by my father, my alcoholic father, drug addict father, that life was just unsafe.
Yes.
That was the message.
Right.
So
don't feel a feeling.
Right. Like, why would you ever want to feel a feeling, right? There's no way to manage that.
No.
Feeling.
Especially as a tiny child.
Right. So what I discovered is that I had all of this subconscious repression, right? Mm-hmm. And disassociation from my feelings. And it was really hard to understand that.
Yeah.
And so, doing the visualizations that we did in the group, just being with my body, feeling my body. It was like, it felt like it was just bad. That was that was the only thing I could say I was feeling. I just feel bad.
Right.
I just want to,
Right.
I just want to die. I feel bad.
Right.
But then as I started to, as I said, lift the onion peels and get deeper, it was like, oh no, I feel unsafe. I feel not loved.
Right.
I feel neglected, I feel shame. So I was able to start to discern what the feelings were more when I started to look inward and I started to feel safe enough to look inward.
Right.
And I'd say that it took me many, many years, to really become kind of to rule my own feelings versus having my feelings rule me. Mm-hmm. Like that's been a lifetime project or journey or healing for me.
Of course. The human condition, if you will.
Yeah.
How to deal with ourselves.
Right.
And all of our stuff and our feelings. And
yeah. And I was just recently at Nordstrom's Rack in Seattle doing some clothes shopping, and I was just trying my clothes on, and I heard a couple stalls down, this girl, from her cries, it sounded like she was about 14 years old, around there. And she started having this very guttural, just sobbing, just crying. And so I kind of I started to kind of listen in because I felt like I wanted to run and help her. And she was talking to her mother, and she said, "Mom, I just tried on these jeans and I thought I looked good, but after I tried these jeans on, I realized I look so fat and awful and ugly." Oh. And the mom goes, "Maddie, you don't look awful. You look fine. You look great." And she sobbed even more when her mom said that.
Of course.
And she goes, "No, Mom." And her mom very nervously said, you're not cutting yourself here, are you? And I could feel the nervousness in the stall. And I was like, "No, I'm not," still crying. And then her mom looks at her, or tells her, I'm sure she was looking at her, "I can't deal with your emotions, Maddie. I don't know what to do with you." And it was palpable, this situation of mother-daughter.
So scary.
The mother feeling so scared that her daughter is gonna,
is cutting
and
might whatever, have a terrible eating disorder now.
Right. Oh. And so I guess they had come shopping with another girlfriend. And so the mom said, "I'm going to go get your other girlfriend to help." And then the other girlfriend came in, and I could hear in Maddie's voice that she felt comforted by her friend, who kind of identified
was
more.
Like, "Dude, it's all right."
Yeah. And then the mom comes running back. She's like, "Maddie, I have the designer jeans. They're $100, but I don't care. I'm going to buy them for you. And we're going to take care of this for you, Maddie." Oh, and then I have the expensive shirt that you wanted. These two will get this outfit for you, and it's all going to be okay, Maddie.
Right. Oh.
And it was just a heartbreaking
stop
scenario.
Crying.
Yeah.
Stop feeling. Let's buy something.
Yeah.
We'll feel better after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, chances are, if that was my family, and then let's go get something to eat.
Yeah.
And then let's just never talk about this again. This little meltdown.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it very, very much touched me. I almost started crying in this. I just felt like, here are our, all of our girls growing up, and boys, but in this situation, a girl. And it was just, her feelings weren't really validated, weren't heard. Right. And it's no one's fault.
No, this mom didn't know how to have feelings either. Nobody, it's like everybody goes, I don't know how to do that. Instead of what the thing would be is to say, it's okay to feel so sad. I'm sorry. The pressure on a girl is so horrible. those pants, forget those pants. Let's see if there's other pants. Don't even wear pants.
Yeah.
Just wear a skirt. I don't know, but just your feelings are valid. I understand. I get it. I love you. I love you so much. What if she had heard that? Or what if the mom were able to say that? I wasn't able to say that to my child. I was able to say it to my granddaughter, but I'm a lot older and wiser now, and I had an eating disorder recovery. But at that time, I don't know. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have been able to do that with my own child. It's just, I would have said probably this exact same words. I don't know what to do with you, because I didn't. I didn't know what to do with me or him.
Right. And then as the daughter, you're going, okay, I guess this is totally unacceptable, right? That's the message that translates.
Just stuff it.
Right. I can't, it's not, there's no room for the feelings. So why, I'm not going to bring it up next time.
Right.
Or
Right.
I'm going to hide it, or I'm going to cut myself.
Just going to do whatever. So I know for you, that was around the age where you were out there. So probably a lot of that stuff came up for you. But what if this were your daughter?
Yes. And that's, something that I'm really happy to report. At this point, I do have 3 kids and I have 1 daughter, 2 boys. And that is one of the things I'm really good at, Laurelee, is with my kids
great.
Or with feelings,
Yeah.
and really any other kids that I'm around, when there are feelings there, we sit down and, their feelings are validated. They're given the space to have their feelings.
Yep.
We have a special meditation pillow at our house where when people are feeling out of sorts, they get to go and have their space. No judgment, no criticism. It's like, just go have your space, feel your feelings, hit the pillow hard if you need to,
Wow.
and just feel it.
Yeah.
And
We
I
should all live at Vajra's house.
And I also have I teach kids yoga at the Montessori school here in Reno that my kids go to. And it's one of the best, most rewarding parts of teaching kids yoga are in those moments where I see the kids feeling like their feelings are too much or they're feeling out of sorts and they don't know what to do with their feelings. And we sit down as a group and we just do some deep breaths and we start to just feel the feelings in our body and we support each other in how to just be.
Oh my God, it's so great. That is so beautiful. And it also reminds me of sort of like the generational, I'm fat. No, you're fat. No, everybody's fat. I can't eat that. I'm not going to eat that. I can't wear those jeans. I'm fat. I'm fat. I'm fat. That whole cycle, you broke it. You broke it. You're not going to give that cycle to your kids. It's just not going to happen. It just makes me cry. It's so beautiful, because I know that my mother taught me that and her mother taught her that and probably the mother before that taught that you had to be perfect as a girl, a second-class citizen. You weren't okay. You had to look a certain way, be a certain way. And I a little bit broke it with my son, but I can see my son completely has broken it with his children. Thank God. Huh?
Thank God. Yeah, I know.
So
It's
great.
Really, really, there's a lot of hope for healing.
Right. If we just get conscious ourselves, the ripple effect of that out there in the world is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So you kind of already said it, but I like to always ask people, think about if there's a little girl, a little 14-year-old girl named Vajra in her bedroom in the world somewhere, what would you say to her about her, if she's worried about her body and she's worried that she's eating in a way that she knows is not okay or binging or starving? What would you tell her about that and about feelings?
Well, it's interesting that you're talking about that scenario because I have one that's like that. I have a niece who is she's 10 And my brother and his ex-wife, they broke up when she was really young, like 3.5, 4. And the mom would, because there was separation anxiety, would fill her backpack full of snacks and food. Mm-hmm. And so Arden, my niece, started to connect, okay, bad feelings, food. Right. Bad feelings, food.
Right.
So now fast forward, she's 10 and she doesn't have the body type like her sister, right?
Oh, right.
That she's a little bit more heavier set, and she feels a lot of shame around her body. She feels shame around her eating.
And she's 10.
Oh. And yeah, it hits home, right?
Who even knows what she's going to look like when she's grown?
Right, exactly. Right. And so there was this really very touching moment. I go to the Bay Area to work a couple times a month, and she was at my brother's house. I was spending the night, and she was having some hard time falling asleep. And so I said, "Oh, Arden, do you want me to come cuddle with you? I'll come." And
so sweet.
Yeah, and so we climb into bed together, and I'm cuddling, and we're having our little girl time, whispering, and she starts crying. And she goes, I don't know what to do. I just feel like, I have all these feelings, and I don't know what to do with them. I can't tell my dad because he doesn't know what to do with them. And my mom is really frustrated.
Yeah.
And
mouths of babes, huh?
Yeah. And she goes, I'm just feeling uncomfortable in my body, and and she was just really touching moment there with her. And I just said, Arden, I said, your body's beautiful. You're growing right now. And the most important thing for you, Arden, is just to love yourself. And how to do that is not so easy sometimes, but here are some ways that you can start to do that. And one of them is to, when you're feeling these feelings, you can always call me.
Oh my God.
I said, just know that you can call me. And what's so interesting is that I remember you telling me that. I remember being a little, being little tweener and, feeling so out of control. And you were like the only person there for me around all these crazy people.
Oh.
And so it just felt so great to give it back. It feels great to give it back. And, especially to my niece, and, and I could see her kind of light up after she heard that. And she's like, okay, and I said, here's one thing that I think would really help. I think in your journal, I think you should write all your feelings out, Arden. Just write them all out. And then this is even harder step, but think about what you need. Like, would it be a hug?
Yeah.
Or maybe you need to have some fun.
Right.
And go out with some friends and, go bike riding, or maybe you need, some time with your mom and dad.
Yeah.
Just to hang out with mom and dad. But I said, if you can start to write in your journal a little bit about your feelings and what would be good, what would feel so good for you to have.
So great.
So I think that she has been doing that, and she's starting to find her way a little bit more with it. But that definitely hit home.
No kidding. And you gave her a lifeline to herself. Like you said, call me if you need to, but you're giving her a tool that she can always use for herself. Write them out. And then there's the 3 things. What am I feeling? What do I need? How can I support myself in giving me what I need? What do I, we have resources. We forget that we have resources. I didn't know I had resources, but, and I probably didn't have very many resources as a child. Thank goodness I did have food. I don't know what would have happened to me if I didn't, really. So, I just really appreciate you saying all this. This is going to help so many people. And, that feeling, one of the other things I want to say about feelings is that when we go into schools and talk to kids, 14, 15, 16, we ask them, who here has heard the phrase, I feel fat? Who's heard that today? Who's heard that ever? And everybody raises their hand. Who heard that today? Almost everybody still raises their hand. This could be at 8 o'clock in the morning, Who has heard this in the last 10 minutes? A few people still raise their hand, It's like, and what do they mean? What does somebody mean when they say, I feel fat? So if you almost say, well, I feel like I ate too much. Well, that's full. You feel full. But what do you mean when you feel fat? And invariably, there's at least a few kids that will go, I feel like I'm not okay. And where in the culture did we decide that fat is not okay? That if you're fat, you're not okay. And so if I feel fat, that means I'm not okay. I'm not lovable. I'm not going to be lovable. I need to do something really fast. And what even is fat? I mean, really, who is even fat? I mean, is it there's girls that are wearing a 00, and then there's girls that are wearing a size 2, and the size 2 think they're too fat because they're not in a 00? Is that okay? No.
Right.
Maybe we don't even know in this culture what too fat is. Maybe we don't. Or maybe if people are way over their natural weight, something else is going on.
Right. There may be something else going on here.
Right. And if they're under their natural weight, maybe they're not just really skinny and we all need to hate them because they're skinny girls. Maybe we should think, well, maybe there's something going on. That's the thing. When we just only look at the body or the image, we're not getting the whole picture, either for ourselves or for our girls or for each other.
Yeah, when you were speaking, Laurelee, it reminded me of when I had moved out of my house right when we had met and I started working with you guys. And I was living with a friend's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, okay, well, I have a real dilemma here. I'm overeating, but I'm also gaining weight. And so I tried to figure out a way to handle that. And I started to be bulimic.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't.
It seems like
This is not going to work. I'm like eating, right, to soothe myself, but then I'm getting fat, which is not acceptable.
Right. Not at all.
No, which is, so yeah. And it was a pretty solid year of hiding that. Mm-hmm. And just being in terrible, terrible pain around and shame around that behavior.
Yeah.
And feeling out of control.
Yeah.
And, it was a real tough period of time for me. But I think that by doing the recovery and the work, I started to realize that, just like you were saying, it's like my body is lovable any way I am.
No kidding.
I mean, just like I'm worth it, right? Like I don't have to be this image that I'm seeing on, on the magazine stand or, I don't have to put myself through those hoops to be loved. And it was, a pretty painful journey to get there with that. But it definitely took it was scary, Yeah. It was scary, those moments of, like throwing up and then putting bleach in I was a nanny and I put bleach in the toilet so nobody would smell the throw up. And then like hiding it all and then knowing that my teeth were getting all, devastated from it and just super painful moments where, I
don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Right. And that panicky of overeating or undereating or just eating, if you have this disorder, really no amount of food is okay, really. You can eat a bunch and that's not okay, and a little and that's not okay. So really the disorder is you're never really supposed to eat. You're not supposed to have a body, really, unless it's, that's the weird thing about this filter on the cell phone, which is makes people look like a little bunny, like a little bunny face with little bunny ears and a bunny nose. And I have a friend who is a plastic surgeon, and he said young girls will come in and have a picture of a bunny themselves as a bunny and say, I'd like to look like that. And he'll say, well, that's a bunny. That's not a person. Well, I would like to have that kind of nose. Yeah, that's not a human nose. And I can't get you ears on top of your head. And no, you can't, that's not real.
Right, this
But
distorted image of what
and
people want to
and
look
that's
like.
the same as what we see in magazines that have been photoshopped so much that's not even a real person anymore. So we've gotten so far away from what normal people even look like, and they come in all shapes and sizes and colors and ages and races, and we have to stop this insanity of thinking everyone should be young, thin, and blonde.
One of
White.
one of the things that comes up in my family, yes, is the boys are now coming in and using descriptive words of people. Mom, that person's really fat, and it's such a trigger for me. And we have conversations. I said, that person's body is really not our topic,
Our business.
our business. It's their body.
Right.
And really, it's, to really honor people, we want to let them have their own space around their body and really not make any comments, because that can really hurt people's feelings.
Well, that's the thing about, again, when we go into schools, the bullying that we hear so much in school is about number one bully is weight. Number one. So whether you're a really thin person and everybody calls you anorexic, or you're a really big person and everybody calls you fat, it's still bullying. It still hurts. Or they say you're too short or too tall. But the bullying for fat is the number one. And it's horrendous. I mean, the damage it does to these little kids, so. And then, if you're always compared to another kid all the time, well, look how beautiful she is. And what happened to you? You used to look really thin when you were 5. Well, a lot of us look thin at 5. Or
I haven't gone through puberty.
Right. Or people go, I know that I'm not supposed to be this big because I used to be really thin. Well, you used to wear diapers too, but that doesn't mean you're going to be 10 anymore. It's not going to happen. Let it go. This is a human adult body, and it has different shapes and sizes. My body at 68 is a whole lot different than it was at 28. And just the way it is.
Now, fast forward to 46.
Yeah.
I'm 46 years old. There are still moments where I have that quintessential feeling I'm fat.
Yeah.
And when I have those feelings, I realize it's like a red flag. I'm like, oh, okay. Hello. Like what's going on for me, and why am I not able to access that place inside myself that loves myself?
Yes.
Where have I gone?
Yes.
I have left my body. I have left my essential self that loves myself unconditionally, and I have checked out.
Yeah. And now I'm picking on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it is, it does still happen, but there's the process around my recovery to get back to my center is faster. And, it is not even that I verbalize it, to my kids or anything. It's more of an internal thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, red flag. I need to go in.
Yeah. I love what you just said because it's so true. I will still have the idea that I'm too fat, and it will come and go so fast like that, so fast, because I don't believe it anymore. But it will come in, or, I should get some work done. Or I don't look very good with blah, blah, blah. And that, again, is my culture. I've been brainwashed since a small child to believe that I'm not okay. And those thoughts will come at a second. And usually, like you're saying, if I go within and go, what just happened? There'll be something outside of me that triggered that. Like, I'll catch myself in a mirror and I look really old. Maybe I look like my mother. Or I see a really young girl and I think, oh, I'll never be like that again. Or, whatever, a million things. Or I read the newspaper. I just get all upset about world affairs, especially America affairs. So that's where I go. And I have to bring myself, wait, don't pick on yourself. Tell yourself you're sorry. I tell myself I'm sorry a lot. I'm sorry I said that to you. That was unfair. You're fine. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Don't take this to heart. I was just kidding. I wasn't, could you take a joke? So I just sort of like talk myself out of this bad body feeling and go to the real feeling, which is I'm scared or I'm sad or I'm, it's easier to feel fat than it is to feel lonely or overwhelmed, or distraught. It's easier to feel fat than to feel those things. But we have to feel those things. And that's the way we do it. We don't listen to the first thing that comes along. So I'm wondering if you would read the Just for Today.
Yes. Today I will practice letting myself feel whatever I feel. When I start to experience an emotion, I will see if I can bring my awareness to it and be present with it. I will try not to change it, but just observe it. I will try to stay connected with and conscious of myself and my feelings.
Oh, great. So Vajra, thank you so much for being here. I just really am so appreciative that you came and talked today. And we got this feeling thing out of the way.
Thank you so much, Laurelee.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. And be sure and follow me on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and itsnotaboutfood.com. Thanks.